This is the Lobo Pod.
And welcome in. This is the Lobo Pod presented by Green Summit Landscape Management. And this is an exciting one. Across from me, you have the two-time Mountain West Coach of the Year, 4 regular season titles, 1 Mountain West tournament title, an Albuquerque native, the head coach of the women's soccer team at the University of New Mexico, Heather Dyche. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good, JJ. I'm happy to be here and happy to be doing this right before the start of the season. Get it going.
And you think about the start of the season, you're walking into your 11th year. When you look at the coach that stepped into the office for the first time 11 years ago versus who you are now, what do you think are the biggest differences in that person?
Oh, man. It's, I think every year you just face these new challenges and you, things change and the environment changes and staff changes. And there's just, I think the one thing you can count on is change, you know. But the biggest part to me is the people. And I've been able to do it 11 years, 10 of those, each with Paul and Carly, which is kind of unheard of. And so I think for that, I'm just grateful for the people and the players and the administration. And that part of it to me is, it does change a little bit, but it's always the most rewarding thing is the people you get to work with and most definitely the players that we have.
And, we get to see the 90 minutes that you guys are on the pitch, but, there's so much more that goes into that. And what motivates you to get up every day and, keep coaching this team?
Yeah, I love soccer. I love it. I love that I get to wake up every day, come be with people I love, teach a game that I love, and compete. Like I just think it's such a blessing. And then on top of that I get to do it in my home state and represent New Mexico is just a privilege. And I don't ever not feel lucky when I wake up every day. And that's regardless of, we've had some good seasons, we've had some tough seasons, but it's not impacted by that because it really is about like what you get to do and who you get to represent.
You were a great athlete. Growing up, you were a multi-sport athlete, played college soccer, but was coaching something that was always on your mind of that you wanted to get to?
I honestly didn't know you could coach for a living. Okay. Like I didn't know it was a thing, which is stupid because obviously I had coaches that did it for a living. But it's not like you can major in coaching or you can go pursue coaching, or you certainly couldn't when I was doing it. But I was lucky enough that when I was done playing and played a little bit overseas for a while, that the game just kind of opened up pathways. And I think coaching was just something like if I could stay on the field and stay around the game. And I really find coaching incredibly challenging, especially soccer, because it really is a player-driven sport, not a coach-driven sport. And I think the challenge of that to me is almost equally as exciting as being a player.
And it's something you talk about a lot because you can't call a timeout in a game or a reset or anything. Yeah, there's substitutions. But with that, how do you empower players, to take ownership of the game?
Yeah, I think what we try to do is to create reality-based environments in training. And so on the training field where you do have the ability to stop it and access things and teach, that the game teaches the problems the players are going to see on the weekend. That's the goal. So that once they face it on the weekend, they've already had a chance to do it. But really, ultimately, it's teaching the why. Why do we do what we do? Why do you make the decisions you make? And so they can self-adjust in the game. I think really good soccer teams are constantly playing the chess match, So we're trying to empower them to make those decisions.
And one of the things you also do is you empower other people in the game of soccer. And you look at your role with U.S. Soccer, the senior instructional staff, you're just one of 2 women that are coaching that, and the licensing that goes into that. What does it mean to you to have earned those licenses, but then be able to share that with others?
Yeah, coach education is totally different because now you're talking about adult-based learning. And I think any time that you can be in a room with somebody and share ideas on how to be a better coach, hopefully they take something from that. And I certainly take a lot from that environment as well. So I think, rethinking how you do things and rethinking how you create environments that players are going to want to be a part of is the constant evolution of the game. And I think coach education is a really cool pathway to keep that new and fresh and keep rethinking it, so I enjoy doing that as well.
I know you do a lot of work too with just opportunities, as you said, coaching, but giving people chances that might not have had a chance to get into coaching and to do something. What does that mean to you?
Well, at some point we were all given something because someone saw something in us, right? And I think the great part about running a collegiate program is that you do have opportunities and you can teach people things. And we've been lucky enough that some of our student managers have gone on to work for U.S. Soccer. They've done some analytics for U.S. Soccer. You can open these doors just based on people willing to work hard. And I think, if someone's willing to put their time and energy into a program, if you have the opportunity to open a door for them, then that's your responsibility. It's not just the players, it's the staff and people around us and trying to give everybody whatever you possibly can.
And you mentioned your staff a little bit earlier when you look at, Carly Nelson and Paul Maestas. What does it mean to you that they have stayed on your staff this long at UNM?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. Yeah, it's everything. I think, like, I can't honestly think of any program in the nation of any sport that kind of has had that consistency with both assistants. And it's just a mutual respect. It's a friendship, but we legitimately enjoy each other and we push each other and we learn from each other. And I think, like, that piece of it, I love getting to work with them every day, and they're unreal. I will always be eternally grateful for them.
Is there a lot of things that you guys can do now that it's like unspoken? Like, you guys just know which roles you need to fill?
Yeah, maybe sometimes good and sometimes bad. But no, it's an intimate relationship that you have with your staff. I mean, you spend a lot of time together. And so we've been through a lot together. There's highs and lows and personal things and great joys and big failures. And when you go through that with somebody, like, you definitely learn how to read them and you learn how to, hopefully be in their corner. And I think that's one thing, all three of us mutually, like, I know they have my back and they know I have theirs.
And with that, you guys have had all Mountain West selections, all academic selections, Player of the Year candidates. When you guys are on the road, what are you looking for in a student athlete, and also what do you want to represent about UNM?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for us, and I think this has been something that has been really reinforced, like with Fern coming and this administration, but for us, it really is the person over the player. Like, what kind of student are you? Do you recognize the platform that you've been given with being an athlete? How do you react to failures? How do you support each other? And we really want good people. And if in addition to that we can find people that are great players, then you've hit the jackpot. But our program is really based on character and how we act in the community and how we behave in the classroom. And I think those all lead to soccer success, but we look for that first.
And that does stand out when you look at the players that stay in your program, that graduate from the University of New Mexico. When a student athlete gets done, what do you hope that they've learned from being a Lobo?
I hope that they have learned how to have a voice. I hope that they've learned how to represent themselves, represent a team. I hope they learn how to, like, when to lead and when to follow, because both are important. But I do think that one of the great parts about athletics, especially for women, is you can have a voice, and, like, you can learn how to speak up, and you can learn how to represent yourself. And it's one of the biggest parts about our program is we want accountable, strong women that go into the community and can represent our program, the state, and the university that way.
And you absolutely have a very strong voice, especially in this community and with the game of soccer. And we'll have to just throw up the entire bio, but what you've done with U.S. soccer, the women's national team, is so impressive. How did you get involved with that?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm someone that if I have an opportunity to say yes, I'll say yes. And it's not always the flashiest thing, but I love to learn new things. I love to be thrown into new environments. And a long time ago, I was actually in a coach education course, and at the time, Jill Ellis was the head coach at UCLA, so she wasn't with the WNT yet. And she helped teach the course, and we just kind of gained a mutual respect for each other. And when she got the WNT job, the women's national team job, she started opening up doors for youth national team positions and scouting and analytics. And I think I was called into a couple camps. Like, I don't even know how to fly a drone at that point, but I'll learn how to fly a drone if I get to go into camp. But I think anytime you get into an environment where things are new and better, you're pushed to change and you're pushed to challenge yourself. And I love those environments. I'm okay failing. I'm okay failing miserably if I know that I can learn from it. And so I'm grateful that, those doors were open for me. Like you talked about previously, like, it's when people are willing to do that for you, it can change your whole life.
And it's also benefited your program. You guys have actually hosted the Deaf Women's National Team and put an exhibition last year, a lot of training. What do you think that experience means to your players?
Yeah, I mean, that team is special, the Deaf Women's National Team. I mean, they've won the Deaf Olympics, the Deaf World Cup. But to play soccer and to play for a national team, like, with different abilities, you learn so much from that. Like, just to watch them train, to watch how they communicate, to watch them, like, just the way they represented themselves. Like, it was personally incredibly special. Their head coach was the very first coach at University of New Mexico, Amy Griffin, which is, worlds colliding. And I think just that whole thing was, again, like, anytime you're in an environment where things feel unusual to you, you grow. So that was a pretty special moment for our program.
And you discussed, the opportunities, and we've seen the growth of women's soccer a lot lately. And I think a lot of it did start kind of on the international stage. But what have you seen just even with NWSL, college soccer, just the growth on that side?
Yeah, and I think it's across all women's athletics right now. Like if you invest, you will reap the rewards, and that's just being proven over and over and over again. I mean, this summer, the Euros just finished. It was the most attended Euros in the history of the game. One of the games was watched at a higher rate than some of the men's games, and it's just because people are putting money and energy and time into the sport. And I think you see that with the WNBA right now, and for whatever the reason is that it's being promoted, it's important. Women's tennis has always been incredible, like some of the women's golfers, but certainly soccer. Like you see sold out NWSL stadiums, you see, young fans that are, getting to look up to these pretty incredible women. And I think, it's just, there's a template there. Like if you invest, you'll get the reward. And I hope that continues to grow because it's been really fun to see.
Well, the investment for your team starts on the field, and you come to University of New Mexico, there's high expectations, and you always talk about, wanting to challenge your team, getting them ready for conference play. And the schedule is a challenge this year, especially a lot of road matches early in the season. Home opener is August 14th against Texas Southern in the regular season. But when you look at just kind of putting this schedule together, how do you think how your team's going to respond to it, and what do you hope they get out of that non-conference play?
Yeah, we want to play anybody. We want to play everybody. We love when big teams come here, and the past few years we've had Oregon State come out here and play, and so we get the opportunity to go back and play them, which is, always when you get to play Power 4 teams in their home environment. I love that. Like it's just there's zero pressure. It's just a chance to go prove who you are, and those moments they test you. And I think hopefully we try to create a non-conference schedule that's going to prepare us for the conference schedule. So we have a couple split weekends. So we tried to build in a split weekend. We play some very, very good teams in the Mountain West. So we've tried to, raise the level of the teams that we play. But ultimately what we want to do is head into conference feeling battle ready and ready to go. And Paul Maestas helped to create that schedule, and it's an exciting one. We're really looking forward to it.
There's curveballs for everyone in the Mountain West this year, but the consistency across the conference always does stand out. What do you think it's going to be like this season?
Consistent. Yeah. I mean, It is, man, like you said earlier, it's been 11 years, but I don't think, even the years that, we kind of had these really great records, you never feel comfortable. You never go into a game and think like, oh, this is the team that we'll beat. And so it just keeps you on edge. And you have to find a way to get a little bit lucky. You have to find a way to score goals, which is a lot harder than it sometimes sounds like. But I think we have the group to do it this year. And then you need players that have a little bit of experience. And that's what I think we're most excited about this year is we return a lot of seasoned players. We started a really young team the past couple of years. So I'm excited to see those guys kind of take on more of a leadership role and step into that. And I know they're ready for it.
I'm sure every team has a special place for you, but are there any moments that you gravitate to when you think about what's really been some standout moments that come to mind first for you?
Yeah, we've had some crazy ones. You've been a part of a lot of them. I definitely always go back to the conference championship against San Diego State. Like, to give up that goal, 4 seconds left?
Yeah, it was under 10 seconds, yeah.
And candidly, and I'll speak truthfully, like sometimes we get our butts kicked and you sneak one away. We deserve to win that game. We were the better team. And to give up a goal with 4 seconds and to kind of find like that resilience, and then just the football team there, and it was COVID, and that whole thing was just special. And that for our staff was our first one that we won. So that moment to me will always just kind of ring in the back of my head, But I think the other moments that really matter are just like you have athletes that get into med school. You have like they're getting married and having babies, and they're still part of the Lobo family. And that to me is like it's lasting, it's ongoing, and that's the goal. When you leave here, you never feel like you don't have a family here.
And with that, you look at what this city, this state means to you. You graduate of El Dorado High School, 2-sport athlete. When did you start playing sports, and when was that switch flipped where you fell in love with sports?
Yeah, I think the first time I ever touched a ball, I was probably way too competitive. But I love sports. I love competing. I loved basketball when I played it. I really, really enjoyed it. But I always just felt like on the soccer field, the game was yours. It really is a player's game. And that ability just like to tune out for 90 minutes and just to try to win a game with your friends on a beautiful field. And I've always loved it. So I think from the time I was 3 or 4, I was wanting to like compete and play soccer and do nothing else. And probably a little bit crazy, but I loved it. And it was driven by me, never by anybody else. So I'm grateful for that because those opportunities have led to everything in my life, you know? So sports are a pretty special outlet.
How close was basketball to maybe being the thing you did when you were transferring?
Yeah, very close, very close. I've told this story a few times. I think maybe I've mentioned it to you, but I was lucky enough to play for Don Flanagan in high school. So he was at El Dorado High School. I think he won 15 state championships there. I mean, he's just a legend. But he's a legend of a human. Like, that was the best part of him. But he was my coach at El Dorado, and he left to come here my junior year. And then I thought about coming here initially out of high school, and I wanted to play soccer. So I went to Nebraska for a year. And when I left Nebraska, it came down to Florida State soccer or UNM basketball. And I met with Coach Flanagan, and he said, I'd love to have you come here, but you are a soccer player. Like, you will not like it here. It's just not for you. You need to go play soccer. So it was a very, in retrospect, he was right. I am a soccer player. I love basketball, but I'm a soccer player. So that's the kind of guy he is. Like, he puts people first.
It definitely was the right choice. I know there's so many people are happy that you made that choice. And you mentioned it real quick, but as we fast forward to this season for the team, you guys, exhibition match August 7th against UTEP, home opener August 14th, Texas Southern. What is one thing you'd want fans to know about this year's team?
I mean, this year's team is going to look different. We've had a lot of, I think because of COVID and because of like 5th and 6th years given to a lot of players, there was some familiar faces that have left the program. And so that is exciting and a little bit scary and a little bit different. So some familiar faces are gone. But the players we do have returning are incredibly proud to be a member of this team and a member of this community. I mean, they're just special. We have quite a few native New Mexicans that start for this program, and I mean, that always gives you a little bit of an edge, when you put New Mexico on your chest and you're from here. But they're going to be gritty. They're going to be hard. They're going to fight. And I just think they're going to be a team that people are going to really enjoy watching. And I hope in addition to that, they get to know them because they're pretty incredible young women.
All right, Coach. We see your Instagram posts. It's a lot of outdoor stuff. You love the beauty of New Mexico. What do you enjoy about getting out, just unwinding outside?
I mean, anyone that talks to me, I'm quickly and obviously a passionate New Mexican, but I love this place. I think the people of New Mexico, the culture of New Mexico, I just feel lucky to be from here. And I think, man, you go on these hikes and you go to these beautiful places, and one minute you can be behind the mountain and it's completely green, and the next minute you're down at the river, and like there's just so much diversity here. You just have to get out and find it. And to me, that's just where you find peace. Like, you just get outside and enjoy this beautiful state.
Speaking of that, do you like to read? You movies? Do you like to binge watch shows?
I wish I liked to read. I wish I liked to read. I don't as much as I wish I did. But yeah, I think if I have free time, mostly I want to be outside. I mean, that's kind of my priority. I do love to golf. I'm terrible at it, but I do love to golf. But yeah, sadly, when I have free time, I'm typically watching soccer.
Oh, with that.
Yeah.
And Coach, you've been fantastic. We'll leave everyone with this question for you. What is one thing, if you could change or add to college soccer, what would you do?
That could be a controversial answer. I would probably have college soccer mimic FIFA in terms of rules. I think there's a lot of things that happen in college soccer that influence the outcome of a game based on like timing and, I mean, even just the clock at the end. Like, there's no injury time. So some of the tactics of soccer disappear in college soccer that unfortunately I think can influence outcomes. So if I had my choice, that's what I would do. I would have it mimic FIFA ruling.
Well, the time you spent with us was great, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it.
Coach Heather Dyche.
The Lobo Pod is a production of UNM Athletics.